This is Ty.
Ty, it's Rich at the auto auction. Hey, did you get those cars at Bob's?
Yeah, I got him.
Did you get the titles?
Yes, sir.
Can you bring them to me?
Meet me at the gate.
I'm Rich Levine, and this is Meet Me at the Gate, where we're not just talking theory, we're tackling real world problems head on, driving solutions that supercharge productivity and team dynamics. Every episode is a journey towards improvement, empowering you, the manager, to lead with innovation and confidence. Join us to transform everyday roadblocks into highways for success.
I got a couple things I need to talk to you about. You're kind of the auction guy, right? So I got a phone call today and talking to a GM of an auction, and he's telling me about how things are going at his auction. I'm like, yeah, great, good. And he gets to this one part where he's got a lender, and this lender guy is really not too happy with him. Okay.
Yeah.
True story. Does this really happen? So I'm sharing this story with you because I'm like, I don't not believe the guy. Of course I believe the guy, but I'm just like, no way, really? So he gets a call from the lender. They've been making some changes. They're wanting to do titles now. You bring a car to the auction, it gets on the block, you got the title. And I think you and I have had these conversations.
You're kidding me. You bring a title to sell a car? You know
Well,
what? In 25 years, Ty, I've never heard this before. This is the first time I've ever heard this.
No. Because I think you taught me this too. One of the things I'm sure I learned it from you. It's one of these like everybody knows this, but the way you told me, I'll never forget. Cars bring more money when you have the title at the block.
Yeah, absolutely.
What? Why? So why? Okay, you told me why. I'll throw out one. You throw out one. One. The dealer guy who's buying it knows that he doesn't have to get strung out for 30, 40, 60 days waiting on a title. So he's willing to pay a little bit more knowing I'm not going to get strung out.
Absolutely.
And he might have a buyer on the car. This, as a transport guy, I got this phone call all the time. Ty, I got that car sold. Where are you? I'm like, no, you don't. I would literally come flying in, drop the car off, go around the corner and just sit there and wait and watch that car. And this is no joke. 8 out of 10 times it really was sold.
They had some. They were doing a quick detail on it. Well, the auction details are top of the line, so I know when they got there, it was already ready to roll. It was retail ready.
Not after transport guy makes those things dirty, guaranteed.
Oh, that's right. You throw your Pepsi bottle, Snickers bottle, Doritos. Yeah.
Well, I'm driving down the highway. You're sucking up all the road dust and all the birds and everything.
And then in your hydraulic line breaks, and then you get it on the windshield.
Hydraulic.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate those. That's so bad.
Or the car.
Nightmares.
The car you bought from the auction, so you got a full load, right? You got 10 on or 9. You had 9 cars. So you got 9 on there. The car above the one you have to deliver has got an oil pan
leak.
It's dripping oil.
And it's a convertible.
Or leak. This stuff is way too true. It's real. It happens.
It does. So anyway, this guy, we're having this great conversation. I'm asking him how he's going. How's the auction business? Great. How many cars are running? Great. What else is going on? Well, I got this crazy phone call today. It's a lender. I think you might have said credit union, whatever it was. We've been doing business, and now I'm trying to implement some new strategy, some new policy that it benefits both sides, buyer and seller. This is the guy explaining it to me. I'm like, all right, yeah, I know a little bit about the titles. That does make sense. So what's wrong with this lender guy? Well, he called me. He's been doing this 38 years. He's been everywhere around the world, and he sold billions of cars. And he's telling me, the dude I'm talking to, that you don't know what you're doing. You're dumb, and I'm going to take my business elsewhere. So
good luck.
First
good luck with that.
First question I ask is, okay, I talk to Rich a lot. I talk to other auction guys a lot. I know cars go through the auction all day long and nobody has a title. So is this something that you're implementing in your auction that is kind of mandatory across the board, or are you just putting this on certain people? He said, no, I want to go mandatory across the board. I want every car that comes in this auction to have a title. Well, is that realistic? Can you really do that? I'm asking you that question. I don't know.
Ooh, it's realistic. Definitely in the fleet lanes. So in the fleet lanes, when you're selling, let's say fleet inventory, which could be, all your white trucks, or, let's say there's an energy company that's got a bunch of vehicles and they're returning them all. And they might run them through one of the big fleet companies. And we all know the names: Holman, Element, FLD, whatever. So those are fleets, right? Because they're not repos, they're fleets. So you're going to have a title on those. All the repo companies, all the banks, all the subprime lenders, the prime lenders, all the big names are all going to give you a title, every single one of them.
Hmm.
And then the small lenders sometimes think that they deserve special treatment. At least that's been my experience. But every auction I've ever been at, whether you're a small lender, big lender, if you're running in the fleet lane, commercial lane, you have a title. No title, no run.
No
No
run.
title, no check. So dealers now, and that's even where I'm trying to push to get dealers to start bringing them, because you're absolutely right. If you have a title there and you can announce, and a few years ago, I'm getting off track, but a few years ago, the NAAA came out with a new ruling, and I can't remember what year it was. I want to say it's been 7 to 10 years, and they introduced the blue light. And the blue light, yep, this is true story. You're not making this stuff up. The blue light signifies or signals to the buyer, if it's lit up, it's called title attached, which is really weird. Okay, so title attached means that the title is not present. It means the title is attached to the consummation of that sale. So in other words, it's not a good sale until the title is there. So warning, blue light, title's missing, it's not here. That's what that means. So now they're instead of, they always called it TA, title attached. It's old legal jargon, but we've changed the words to be now mean TA, title absent. The title is not here. You're buying that car. And if I'm a buyer and I'm looking up there, whether I've got the car sold or not, I'm going to do a deduct on that automatically, because now I got to jack around waiting for a title. And in every state that I know of, I don't think there's any states that this is where this is possible, where it's legal. It's done. I'm not saying it's legal. You cannot retail a car without a title in hand.
Yeah.
And we all know that the super vending machine people got in trouble for doing this. They were retailing a ton of cars during COVID without having a title. So you'd go to their vending machine, you'd pull the lever, and you'd get your car would come down, and then you'd go, and then you'd have everything but the title.
Yeah, they got in a lot of trouble. A lot of states.
Yeah.
Yes, there's more than one state.
Yeah.
Here's the thing I've noticed. I've been hitting the auctions quite a bit lately, and I've noticed that these lender, credit, whatever lane you want to call it, fleet, but kind of these smaller, they might run 10, 15. They call it the repo lane, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yep.
And I noticed you kind of been making me look at stuff that maybe I noticed I just hadn't paid attention to. So I'm watching. I'm like, okay, to me, that 1997 Ford Taurus with 328,000 miles on it probably bought $3,000 was a lot of money for that car. And they put it on an if.
Yes.
So now I watched this today. This is a real story.
Yeah. Well, number one, if they paid $3,000 for a Ford Taurus with 300,000 miles from 1997, I want to know what's in the trunk. Is Jimmy Hoffa in the trunk?
What's going on with this story?
Or is it full of gold?
Maybe the auctioneer, the ringman, maybe there was a big joke and I didn't catch it, because those guys are sneaky fast too, right? But whatever the case was, so I'm like, all right, well, there's one if. Okay, here comes the next one. I don't remember what the vehicle was. Good money. Guy's standing there. If. All 10 ifs. So now, if I'm a dealer and I know I don't have the title and I know I'm just going to be on an if, do I want to even waste my time standing there trying to buy your cars?
You got two choices. Depending on what type of buyer you are. If you're ready to take inventory home that day because you got Ty the transport guy sitting in your parking lot and you need a full truckload, you're going to walk away. You're going to go somewhere where you know you can buy it. If you don't have Ty the transport guy hired and you're hoping for a screaming deal to make some easy money, and you know that car, so let's take that Taurus for example. So you're going to bid $200 max. Yeah. And then they're going to go, okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to call them. We'll get it on offer. And then in the back of your head, you're going to go, all right, $400 is my top offer, because I know I can take it and I can do a buy here, pay here on it at $1,500, make money all day long. I'll do it 2-3 times if I have to. But those guys are looking for a steal. Right. And, if these smaller lenders, and we can even go into dealers, it goes back to what you and I have talked about. And this is where it originated, is CAT. Consistency, accuracy, and transparency. Yeah. So be consistent with your cars, show up, or be online to sell them. Be accurate with your cars. Give us the information. So do a full CR on them. So small lender, and most small lenders do. But if you're a dealer, do a full CR on it. Let people know about the car and then be transparent. Why is that car here? So if you're a credit union, you know why it's there. Or if you're a small lender, it's there because it's a repo, right? If you're a fleet
Mm-hmm.
company, you know because somebody turned it back or you bought it back. But if you're a dealer and you have that car and you're an independent guy and you're trying to sell it, you need to be transparent. Why did you bring this? Ty, why did you bring this car here? Because I know you can sell these kind of cars off your lot all day long. What are you hiding from me? What's wrong? Does the muffler belt broke? Is it out of blinker fluid? What's wrong with it?
Does the transmission shudder at 55 just enough and a
Oh, and a
little
Ford
noise in the
Taurus, it
rear end?
definitely does. A 1997 Ford Taurus, the transmission's been replaced 3 times on that because at 50,000 miles, those things used to go bad. I'll never
Yeah.
forget that on the Ford
Well,
Ford Taurus.
okay. So what I was telling this guy, because I was like, so is this corporate mandate deal, or I mean, do you have? He's like, first question I asked this guy, what kind of volume? What kind of volume is this guy who just called you and told you don't know what you're doing, and I've done this for 38 years, and you're lucky that I'm not coming through the phone right now to rip your face off. That guy.
Yeah.
So first question I ask is what kind of volume is the guy doing? And don't get me wrong, I know we all need cars, we all want cars, but if somebody's going to be kind of not really happy about doing business with you, do you want to do business with them? And he's like, no, it's decent volume. I don't want to lose them. I'm like, okay. So the next question I had is could you do, because I tend to react if I feel like somebody's attacking me. I usually turn full blown red. That tends to be my problem. I'm learning to do better. I'm working on that. But I thought, okay, if you can maintain composure and you can say, look, buddy, I want to earn your business. It is a corporate thing. We're trying to make it across the board. We're not picking on you, but here's let's make a deal. Let's try to work something out. And I'm just hypothetically, tell me if I'm crazy and wrong, but
You're crazy.
why don't we try this for, say, 3 to 6 months, doing it this way. And if at the end of 3 to 6 months, if you're not making more money and loving life a lot better, we'll go back to doing it your way.
With the exception that I need the title. Okay, so I want to flip the script on you because here's where I think. So we like try to help managers. So let's get you're in my comfort zone. So let's get everybody out of the comfort zone and into your zone. So Ty, I have overseen transportation at an auction. I also sat at a corporate office and oversaw all of it for North America. Even did some stuff in the UK. I had no business doing it, but guess what? I was doing it for quite a while. So I'm pretty sure I know how to load a truck. I know how to do the DOT regulations. I know what an LED is. So I'm going to tell you how to run your business. So are you ready? I mean, I'm going to tell you how to drive your trucks. Are you good at this?
Well, I already know how to do it. And when you try to shove your car's arrive down my throat, I'm going to tell you to go fly a kite.
Well,
and that's what really happened in real life.
I'm pretty sure. But you see, this is where it gets fun, is because now I'm pushing your buttons. Like this general manager you're talking about getting his buttons pushed, right? You know more about moving cars than I do. Why in the hell should I tell you about how to move a car? Same story as if you're a small lender. Guess what? You know how to do lending. You know how to lend for a smaller bank. You know how to do the collections for a smaller bank. It's all stuff I don't know how to do. But then you got the nerve to come in and go and tell a general manager all of a sudden that, hey, I've been doing this for 40 years. I think I know what I'm doing. I don't have to have a title. I don't have to rep my car. I'm not going to do it. Your methods are corporate. Your methods are way too corporate for me, and I don't like the vibe you're giving off.
Ooh.
I mean, yeah, that's when it starts to sting a little bit.
Well, I'm saying, okay, we are about solutions, and that's where I said, okay, this might be one. Can we try it my way, since I am the auction guy? You're the auction guy. You're the lender guy. I think you do really good at making loans, making deals. Why don't we try it my way for this long, maybe?
Yeah.
And a matter of fact, I'll come. What's your schedule look like on Friday, Rich?
It's wide open.
You got time for lunch? Okay.
Yes, for you.
I'm going to come by. We're going to go do lunch. Okay.
Absolutely.
I want to keep your business. Now that's my approach. Is I like to be hands-on. I like to be face-to-face. So let's say this guy's 5 states away, right? And maybe we can't make that happen. When's the next time you're going to be? Meet me in the middle.
Meet me at the gate.
Meet me at the gate. Exactly. So I'm not saying that that's the right solution. That's just kind of one of the solutions that came to my mind first when I was talking to this guy, and he's like, "Yeah, that's something to definitely think about." So, tell me your solution.
My solution's very, very similar. I would have a conversation with him and explain, but I'd also do the other thing too, and that's listen to why of the 40 years of experience, 30 years. I can't remember what number you used. 38 years of experience. Okay, in that 38 years experience, tell me what's going on. where did you start and where we're at, and get a story from them and find out, maybe they're still living in 38 years ago because the first money's the best money, and that's what they remember, right? So the
Yeah.
first time they were ever at a sale, they might be, oh yeah. And you know what? And so I think I've been at the auction. I sold my first car in 1998 at Arizona Auto Auction off of 40th Street and University in Phoenix, Arizona. That's where I sold my first car. And things have changed in so long. So that was 1998. So what is that? 18, I don't know, 20 some years. So I haven't been doing it quite as long. 25, somewhere in there. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's a lot of years. Things
Yeah.
have changed. Back then, I was on the block for every sale. Everybody was on the block for every sale. You only sold local. That's all there was. Local dealers, local sellers. There was no regionalization. If people drove in, they might have driven up from Tucson. We might have had some from Mexico. But back in the 90s, well, actually, I did sell cars at Golden Gate, but that was a little close. That was 99. People were actually flying in to Odessa Golden Gate at the time. Before then, when I was selling there, it was still ADT. Golden Gate, the Flying Lion. I would fly into the San Jose airport and ride a shuttle van, and lo and behold, there'd be Mexican dealers flying in on the flight. They'd be at the airport and they'd get on the van with me to go to the airport or to the auction. And they had flown up from San Diego. They drove their cars across the border or to the border, walked in, got a ride somehow to the San Diego airport, flew up, came and buy cars. They'd drive them down to the border, stack them up, and get them across. So back then there was no online stuff. Online stuff didn't start until, I want to say it was 2002 or 3. I remember the first time we ever sold a car online.
Yeah. I'd go with 02, somewhere in that. Sounds very, very real, very familiar. Well, so you're saying some of your solutions, back to your solutions, you're thinking, listen, I heard you say listen.
Yeah.
Let's get the guy back on the phone. Because this guy, he's telling me, I'm like, so this was a real conversation. This really happened. He's like, yeah, just like 30 minutes ago. I'm like, okay, hold on. Can you call him back like maybe tomorrow or the next day? Let it kind of cool down a little bit. Call him back. Say, hey, you know what? I was really busy when this was going down. I don't remember kind of this and that. You got a few minutes? I want to listen to you. That's one of your solutions.
Yep. I want to hear
to find out where he's coming from. What's his background? Maybe he was having a bad day, bad week. Maybe he's got a boss after 38 years that's telling him he's stupid. We don't know what's going on in his life either. Yeah. We don't know what kind of. Actually, we probably got a pretty good idea on compliance, what he's dealing with, because you kind of got to deal hand in hand with that, don't you?
Yeah, there's all kinds of compliance. He's got a lot of pressure, I'm sure.
A lot of pressure. So we call back with a little. What's the THHE?
Yeah, trust, humility,
hope,
and empathy.
We might pull out the empathy card here and do a return phone call. Hey, that phone call really, really kind of bothered me, to be honest with you, buddy. I want to kind of felt like it kind of came out of nowhere. I'm left a little rattled. I want to hear you out here. What am I missing? And as you hear that story, see, this kind of sounds crazy, but like we all want something. I know what I want in this conversation. I want your cars, and I want you to do it my way.
Exactly.
Which is, give me the titles, right?
Yeah.
We all want something. It usually benefits us.
Yeah.
So as we go here, that's fine. But this conversation, if I'm hearing you right, and based on what I've seen at the auctions, there's actual possible benefit for the guy on the other end of the phone. That's what I think we're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. In this situation, if this lender is going to show up with titles, I believe you're going to bring more money for your car because now the buyer is going to have more confidence. Hey, the title's here. The auction's already looked at it. They know it's negotiable. There's not going to be any BS. Mm-hmm. It didn't get lost in the mail. I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong with a title coming to the auction.
Oh, I know. Yeah. So one other part of this story. Okay, title. I think we pretty much nailed that. We want the title. Let's talk about what are you going to sell this car for?
Ooh, goodness. Oh yeah,
these are the two big ones, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and usually in my experience, these small lenders, every car is worth book, and it's not wholesale book. It's usually retail book. Well, we loaned out on that Ford Taurus. We loaned out $10,000. I'm going to have to get close to that $10,000 because I'd hate to have to let one of our borrowers have to have a balance.
Okay, so is this because you and I'm starting to see some opportunity here.
Yeah,
I really am. Okay, you're the lender. I'm the auction guy.
Yep.
You're kind of having some problems with me telling you, make sure the title's here. These cars aren't running through until I got a title. You got it, Rich? Okay.
Yep.
And
I can
Rich
do
is
that.
like,
Yeah, exactly. No way.
yeah, we can do a 3-month, 6-month program for you. And here's what we're going to do. This Taurus, I'm going to tell you, Rich, this Taurus will maybe bring $500, maybe. And here's my data that I'll let you look at that says I'm pretty close to right. Do you still want 10 grand or do you want as close as I can get to 500? Do auctions currently provide that level of customer service for their client? So as we're having this conversation, this is a lender. I want to help you because you're my customer, and I'm going to offer you some things that I might not offer to the guy who brings one car a month, because I appreciate you, I respect you, and I want to retain your business. So in retaining your business, all I'm asking is please get me the title, and I'll show you what I think these cars will bring. You send me the list of cars with the titles. I'll tell you what I think they'll bring because I am the auction guy and I do know the numbers and I do know right now they're bringing pretty good money and this is about what you'll get. Is anybody doing that?
Yeah, there's people doing that. You get access to the data and you can go out and sell it. We at our location, we actually do a lot of that where we'll with the smaller lenders, we'll tell them what they want to know what MMR is. So we'll go plug in MMR for each one of their cars and then we send it to them. And then of course now they expect MMR. And then even though you give them a condition report and you base it, you type in the MMR that we get for the most part is a feed. So it's just an average, but then you got to look at the CR. Is this, you remember with Aaron on there, it's a 3.8 or is it a 2.8? Okay. Well, it's a 2.8. Well, 2.8 money is different than 3.8 money. So
I'll tell you what I remember.
Now you try telling the customer that. What do you remember?
The little black books that were about this wide and about this tall. And then there would have poor, average, good, clean, and someone. They had like 4 categories.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yes. So when I started selling cars at auction, it was Blue Book. Kelly Blue Book is what everybody used in Phoenix.
You West Coasters, weirdos.
Yeah, the West Coasters, they were different. But anyway, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this. So there's a dealer. I don't remember his name. I remember his face, and he comes up to me, and I'm a new guy. I'm green. I'm doing my stuff, and I'm running off a Kelly Blue Book. So I had a little trick that I used, and I would take Kelly Blue Book, and then we were getting one other number. I forget what it was, and I'd take Black Book. I'd add the 3 of them together.
NADA.
It wasn't NADA. It might have been NADA, but we had 3 numbers, and so I divided by 3 to get an average. And then what I'd do is I would go and I would subtract the amount of money that they put on the CR. So let's say it was a $5,000 car. That was my average. And there was $700 worth of damage on there. So now I'd floor my car at $4,300. This dealer walks up to me and he says, he's got his Blue Book out and he says, Rich, I'll give you $2,000 for this car right now. I said, no, I need $4,300. Nope, it's only worth $2,000. I said, I've got all the numbers. And so finally I said, all right, help me understand. I was getting off the block. I said, help me understand how you're getting the $2,000. So he opens up his Blue Book and he goes and he looks at it and says, okay, here's all the options. Remember, you got to look in the back for the options. What the adds and deducts were.
Yeah.
Well, he would go and do that. And then he would take the miles. If the miles were in his favor, he wouldn't add any more to it. If the miles were not in his favor, he would do a double deduct. And he goes, see right here, the miles, it says there's $1,000 deduct for the miles. So that's $2,000. And I'm like, how did you get to $2,000? That's how we do it. That's how we do it. I'm like, no, that's not how we do it. And this guy was dead set that the way to do the deduct on miles was if it was over, it was a double deduct. And I just looked at the guy and I said, you're never going to buy any cars from me because we're never going to see eye to eye on how you do your double deducts. But I found that just to be, it goes back to this conversation that you're talking about with this lender saying, I've been doing it for all these years. Once somebody gets it in their head and they do it that way, that becomes reality for them. And now that is the right way to do it, which is just like this lender you were talking to, this other general manager, whatever. Obviously he's been doing it for all these years. He knows he doesn't have to do it. Whatever way he's been doing it, it's working. And now something's changed in his world. And so who's the wrong one? Well, if he's been doing it that way for 30 some years, then obviously he's right and the general manager's wrong.
Yeah, definitely. So one of the things is to call back and maybe do the conversation again. That's what I was kind of telling that guy that called me on this today. I was like, because there's kind of this, like, nobody really ever says it out loud. Lenders can be like car dealers. You gotta love the lender, love the dealer. You know how I'm always saying love the dealer?
Yeah, love the
So
dealer.
lenders can be like love the lender. And I think I've even been on stage on a panel and I've said, if you're a lender, you're getting ready to get your rear end handed to you. In 2024, you better hang on. And everybody's like, ooh, you can't say that to the lender. I'm like, I'm just trying to be nice. I'm giving you a warning. Here's what I'm seeing on the streets. On the streets, you've got a carrier base that's shrinking. In freight world, everybody goes, yeah, driver shortage. No, car hauler's not freight. So in car hauler, there's a lot of weirdos running around. And the further out these cars are, because everybody's buying online, that's a problem. But if you're a lender and you've got cars spread out all over, one over here, two over there, good luck getting them in.
Don't they
Fuel's
speak
going
Russian?
up. Yeah, and they're Russian. We call them cocaine bear is what we call them. You don't want cocaine bear on your lot. You don't. As a lender, I mean, I think there's that grind. We all, man, that's kind of the speech that I've been hearing from a lot of people. It's the more I get into this lender side and auction side, and it's not that we don't want your cars. It's that there's a really big cost involved in servicing you, and so. One of the things that I learned through my dealer base as a transport guy was, okay, we'll do it this way. And then as we go, I'm going to show you some of the challenges. I got to pay the car puller $10 a car to have the car out the gate because I'm not going to be there when they close. And I know you want your cars tomorrow. Do you want to pitch in on that $10, buddy?
Just another fee. Fees, and more fees.
Yeah, and I'm mad because the auction decides they got to close at 6, and I can't even. Now I'm forced to pay. I mean, it's not nobody's holding a gun to my head, but if I want to make my client, my customer, the car dealer that I always yap about loving, if I want to make him happy because I told him I'd have his cars there tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, I know I'm not going to make it to the auction before 6, and I don't know why they decided to close at 6 because back when I first started, it was 24/7 literally. On Christmas Day, you could go to the auction and pull cars out. So now I've got to try to get there before 6. I got the DOT in my rear end. I got this stupid little electronic logbook thing that I'm looking at that's telling me my hours are going down. You're not going to be open. I got to pay the car. The dealer wants his.
So how's that working for you?
Who likes change, right? Well, not very well. I didn't do very well with any of it. But I am saying you can get back to this whole thing about solutions. We're here for solutions, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
I figured out, okay, I'm not going to be there. It doesn't do me any good to yell at the guard shack guy, the general manager at the auction, the dealer. Nobody's paid somebody $15 to get the cars out, hide the keys, so I can do what I told my customer I'd do. At some point, though, here's what happens. I raise my price because I've built the system, and nobody can penetrate the system. You can't. I call them workarounds. So you close your gate at 6, no problem. I got a car puller. And then the auctions, no, you can't park your cars there. And you can't leave the keys out there. You can't do that. Why? It doesn't matter where the auction, we do what we want and you obey. Okay. I go down the street, a half a city block. I talk to this guy, Gooch. Hey, Gooch, you care if I rent this spot from you for $100 a month to park cars? No, I don't care. Give me $100. So now I'm paying a guy to park. I'm paying somebody to drive. The liability too, by the way, keep in mind the liabilities just keep going up. Also, my customer can have his cars at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Right? So now I say, hey, Mr. Dealer, I was just charging you $100 for all this, but now I'm charging you $175. Ooh, big meltdown. Big.
Yeah, it's a meltdown.
End of the world. Oh, well, you might try and call here. I got his card right here. I've got 3 cards for you of different carriers that you can call. Here's 1, 2, 3. You might call them. I think they're doing it for $95. And I appreciate your business, and if you ever need anything, let me know. 2 weeks, max.
I don't know how you make the balloons go, but you got it dialed in. There's something on your phone. You did that. I did not do that. See, I'm trying. I do thumbs up, nothing happens, and you get excited and balloons happen.
I get excited, balloons. It's celebration, man. That's all it is.
It is celebration. So I think to wrap this up, I think what you got to do is use what we talked about in the past: the trust, hope, humility, and empathy. And empathy is probably the biggest one. And empathy is trying to understand where somebody else is coming from. Pick up the phone. Hey, Ty, what's going on? Let's go have lunch. Let's go talk about this. I want to hear more about your side of the story. I want to hear about your experience and how we got here and what I can do to help you. But I think we can meet somewhere in the middle and let's have the conversation. But I think in the end, we can show you how we can actually help you have a better return.
Right. And one of the things that really annoys me in today's business world is let's just email each other. Don't do another email. Pick up the phone and call them. And here, this has happened to me a lot of times. Probably you too. Hey, that conversation didn't go well. I want to meet you. I want to see you face to face. I'll come to you. You come to me. We'll meet in the middle. However it works out. So now we're here and we're talking. And I'm in the right mindset, mental state that I'm paying attention. I really want to know what's going on. About 7 out of 10 times, you'd be shocked of how much more business that everybody's leaving on the table. And you might walk away with actually more because you've calmed down. There's some people call it the 24-hour rule. Calm down, re-engage. And then when you engage like this, so think about this. This is what blows my mind, especially with auction people. How often do you go talk to that guy? Not you personally, but I'm just saying, how often do you engage in a conversation it's a business conversation, but it's in a casual environment? And how often do you listen to him and ask questions, fact-finding? What about referrals? Hey, do you know anybody else that does this? I not only want your business, but I would love to get some of your buddies' business. Who are you friends with? Who do you know? What kind of problems are they having? And you start digging in this, there's no telling what you're going to turn up. But it could be another 100, 150 cars a week.
Early
that kind of
the
deal.
word.
Yeah, coffee. Take them out for coffee and donuts, whatever. But anyway, there's always a solution to the problem. And I'm thankful to have a friend like you that is really big on value-based leadership. And you used another one on me the other day, value-based culture. I caught that.
Really?
I don't know if you realize
that came from me?
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah.
Wow. It is.
I appreciate you because you kind of keep me, you're kind of like my bumper rails, keeping me safe so I don't have to, when I'm talking to these people, I'm like, I think Rich would probably be this.
We're each other's bumper rails.
There you go.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Meet Me at the Gate. I hope the conversations help to fuel your drive and equip you with insights to steer your team towards success. Remember, the road to success is always under construction. And until next time, keep your engines revving and your gas tanks full.